And also, we want to tell you about this tonight. A first of its kind clinical trial in COVID testing is taking place right here on the First Coast at the Telescope Health testing site in Neptune Beach. Volunteers are being asked to submit saliva samples alongside the typical nasal swabs. On your side's David Jones breaks down what the trial means and how you can get involved.
Most of the COVID-19 tests being done across the country right now are PCR tests. These nasal swabs are considered the gold standard, usually taking a couple days to return a result, but with a much higher accuracy rate than antigen rapid tests. Early indicators show saliva PCR tests could be as accurate as typical nasal swabs.
If we can get testing to the stage where we're only needing that saliva, that's better for everybody.
Matthew Thompson of Telescope Health says the goal of the trial at the beach's testing site is twofold: to determine whether less invasive saliva testing is as accurate as nasal swabs, and to go deeper with information about the virus in the individual.
This clinical trial will allow us to use a new technology called next generation sequencing to determine not only if the virus is present, but has the virus mutated? What's the DNA sequencing of the virus? How can we use this information for vaccines?
Using saliva tests means healthcare workers don't have to get so close to patients. The trial has been happening since mid-October. Telescope working with Orlando-based Protein Biodiagnostics as part of an FDA study of saliva tests. The company is looking for people who have been exposed or are showing symptoms to participate, and if you do so, you'll receive the nasal swab test along with spitting in 2 tubes. David Jones, First Coast News, on your side.